Welcome back everyone to episode 37, I think, of Let's Play Advanced Tactics Gold. This is the screenshot for, well, it's really the game, as it was. At the end of our previous episode, we noticed that it was March. Let's just take a quick look from south to north of how the situation was, and then we can compare with things how they are now. We had just gotten a little toehold across the stream. We're on the eastern bank now, in the south by Beirut, in the German forest area. This is like the runoff from the mountains and the forest, basically, over here. The flatlands outside of pretty mountainous terrain. And they're holding at this stream, or they were. We got this toehold, and there's a lot of open space in front of us, so you couldn't imagine that we were considering pushing past. They also made, in this particular instance, they had made a really foolish jaunt across the bank themselves. There's no strategic reason why they would do that unless they were trying to just dive into Hirschau real fast. Very unlikely that they would make it, but yeah, I mean, if they had, the AI should probably weight its own combat strength versus surrounding combat strength before it makes really aggressive decisions like that. Okay, so then we also had the Russians. We finally closed in. We were in combat with them for the first time. Germans still own this Laval pocket, although oddly enough, the French own a pocket right next to it, which, again, I already mentioned, if I was them, I would be using all my forces to take Laval, but they're kind of holding this no man's land that only has a tank factory. And things are kind of slowing down because it is a slog. The AI, each AI has so many factories at its disposal right now that it becomes this battle. Like, let's just look at what we're witnessing from the Russians. This hex is supposedly dominated, this unit is dominated by armor. This is dominated by infantry guns. This is dominated by armor, and this is dominated by armor. And although I'm not going to save this is a previous turn, we can just do like a flyby, basically. We can see that this hex is also mainly dominated by armor and artillery. You can see armor, artillery, artillery, artillery. This is just my only complaint about the end game. There's probably a way I'll have to go into the editor and see. So this one actually had some infantry, but still the majority was armor. Like, the combat value of these two units would definitely have been armor first. The last one is infantry, and we can see even after so many kills, those two are still armor heavy. But the last one is definitely infantry. So like I said, this is just my main complaint about the end of the game. Or really, it's just about the factory system. You should have a limit on the number of factories. The current limit that is imposed is you can't build one factory within 3 hexes of any other factory. So this factory is here. The next factory I couldn't build until here. But the problem is, that still means if you min-max your locations or whatever, you can get an absurd amount of factories. And I don't know how the AI deals with the political point cost of things, but it just seems like if we look at the map at the end of the game, they have so many factories, it's a little silly. We could just maybe browse left to right in the very bottom of the map. So factory, 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 factory. That's 5 gun factories. That's more than Germany will ever need already. We go to the east, they have an airplane factory and a tank factory. Well, the airplane factories are pretty rare, so I don't begrudge those too much. But we go north, and this was originally another German factory. Of course, we've conquered German factories as well. There's just so many. Okay, tank factory, another gun factory. I blew up one factory here, another gun factory. So many. There's just so many factories. We go over here, we have air, gun. They don't even use airplanes, and they have 2 airplane factories. 2 tank factories, another gun, another airplane. They have 3. That's insane. Tank, gun, tank. Gun, tank. It's just too many, because each one of those is producing, let's say that each one is producing 4 artillery and 8 armored cars. You get to this situation where, yeah, their entire army is just armored cars and artillery. So, it's unfortunate. But anyways, this is the state of affairs. So we had this pocket, Laval, this other pocket. The Russians were starting to come from the east. So we'll see that they're probably about in the same area that they were now. Because I'm going to jump forward to August, 5 more turns in the future, just to see how things are. I mean, this is I've played through all this, so let's go ahead and do that now. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is in the north. Well, you might have seen it there, that the French still had a little bit of a resistance in the top northern foothills, like up here. Now, at this point, I've already crushed all that. So let's work south to north again. In fact, let's just zoom out real fast just to give you an overall picture. It's really becoming the American and Russian show. Germany is being really contracted into this small region. They're not losing too much. This is a big push from the Russians right here. Oh, I don't know if I talked about this already, but I'm now trying to play without the grid rastered. There's a lot of immersion you get from looking at the map like this. I think you can probably tell like how much more pleasant the map is to look at when you don't raster the grid. So it would be nice if there was a button you could toggle, like maybe something you could press down, like spacebar or something, and it would draw the grid. Because there are definitely times where you're going to need to count hexes and yada yada, gameplay mechanic stuff. But it's a much more beautiful game when I don't leave the grid rastered. And it's important for me to remember that because when I create the new Play by Email series, which is currently, I'm just waiting to get maybe 1 or 2 episodes because things don't move as quickly when you're Play by Email. You know, you have to wait for your opponent, and then you can only move when you get the game back, and then, you know, schedules don't always align where you email it at the point where they can't immediately complete a turn. So I'm trying to build up a small backlog so that the videos for that are not spaced weeks apart, which is currently almost the situation for Advanced Tactics Gold when I'm playing it by myself. But that's because I'm jumping forward multiple turns at a time. And I'm actually spending a lot of time debating when I should even update you guys. But okay, so we previously had a toehold across the stream here. Now we've pushed to the base of the mountains, like the outskirts of the forest. So there wasn't a whole lot of forces here. You remember they had some guy who ran across the river. That's all been pushed back, but they're starting to build up a pretty sizable defense. So we're starting to get in the further we drive them back, the denser their forces are going to become. Just like geographically, if they maintain more or less the same number of troops, and the area of that they own decreases, then just the number of troops per area is going to go up. So, simple math. We've been doing a lot of harassment with the Russians. Sorry, the Russians are a big pain in the butt, and as I've already shown, a lot of their army just becomes armored cars and artillery. So we're dealing a lot with that, and the main way I'm currently combating that is with dive bombers. So let's go ahead and dive bomb this bottom hex. Actually, do that one. You can see it's just a whole lot of armored cars, and I mean my dive bombers are going to become elite veterans very soon so in this one we killed 21 armored cars, which, I mean, it's a joke. That's such a massive amount of armored cars if you put it in terms of city production, but because of the factory situation, it's almost meaningless. It's really unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. So oh, one other thing, I already decided I want to have dive bombers in position to attack Beirut. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to build my aircraft not my aircraft factory, but my airfield here. So once I get an airfield here, we'll be in range to attack Beirut. So that's very important to me. I want to be in an area where I can attack Beirut. But then we want the dive bombers to be able to cover all this forest, which is going to be a big pain to get through. So by the next episode, we'll probably see an aircraft factory here. Sorry, an airfield here. And hopefully that'll help us. I'm also moving all my submachine guns south. Trying to get these guys just to move further, get them closer to the front, because their time is coming up very soon where we get into the forest here. Okay, so what do we have? We have some Russians which have crossed the river. I don't know why. Or this is just a stream. So the river becomes a stream right here. Easier to see this stuff also without the grid rastered. A lot of reasons not to raster that grid. Basically, if you don't need it, you shouldn't use it because it is just an adds. I mean, although it does give the game board feel, which I'm completely okay with, the game is more beautiful without that. So let's just attack this guy. I don't know what he's doing on this side anyway. In fact, no, I don't want to use my artillery against him, I think. Not that I need my artillery anywhere else, really, so that's probably a good point. We can get this guy here. Yeah, what we'll probably end up doing is bombarding this guy. So again, in the last one, they were holding the river. I was letting them hold the river. I wasn't trying to push in, but I finally did. They left this bank open for too long. I just decided to cross. And I love the fact that I have engineers pushing up in all my different places. It's such a good idea. It feels so great to immediately have perfect amounts of supply. So I don't have any supply concerns. And this is really only because I have an abundance of engineers and I have an abundance of raws. Oh, another thing is we have the political point. I've been saving this for a while. Not saving it for a while, I just got enough on this last turn where we can finally upgrade my infantry. This is going to be extremely expensive to upgrade all my units, but now we'll be getting an additional 50% hit points compared to level 1. So that moves us from plus 25 to plus 50, so it's a 20% bonus basically. So we get a 20% bonus to hit points, and also a 20% bonus from where we are right now against tanks. And I think that's just what happens at every level. You get better at tanks, you get better at hit points. And let's see, does that carry true to the final? Yeah, so the final one is just another 75%. It's another 25% increase compared to level 1. So obviously the least important one. I think that we'll be pretty happy with the state of affairs when we get this one. So I'm going to buy it, and it's extremely expensive because we'll see that I don't even know if I have the supply capabilities. I'm going to have to switch some things. I've grouped things into just getting the Supreme HQ gives me all the production that I actually want to do. So let's cut this down. Let's do 50. Oh, wait, no. Let's do 90 here and 10 staff. Because I think I'm going to need the extra supply for next turn. We do carry a bit of abundance. Well, let's just see what kind of situation we'll be in after we upgrade all of our infantry. I'm a little worried. Oh, our supply stockpile is 9,500. I wonder if we even have the capability of doing this. We did not have enough supplies in the chain of command to upgrade troops in 13 units. Okay, well, that explains it immediately, that we did not have enough supply. So that's probably my fault because I was actually taking off some supply from London, wherever it is. Yeah, London here. I took off some supply to get some better political points, but let's quickly give ourselves just a big injection of supply. The point is, we probably don't need too much of the political points, and the good news about the political point situation is we're getting a lot of political points now from just all our captured cities. Probably about most of these are French, and maybe almost half are still German, but with Orléans being the big capture, 20 political points from Orléans per turn. So even if we decrease the political point production in our main cities, we're still getting a pretty decent production, just because we have so many captured cities at this point. Another thing I can probably do is cut back on the machine guns, although is there a place I really need to cut back on the machine guns? Excuse me. Do that. Because the only thing we would want to do is decrease machine guns in order to get more supplies. We have plenty of staff coming in. Let's cut down the staff here to get some more supply there. Yeah, now we're getting over 12,000 supply, which I'm sure is more than what we need. Yeah, so 12,000 is... I'm imagining this unit probably uses like 2,000 supply by itself because it carries with it a huge reserve of forces, but maybe even 3,000. So 10,000 is more or less my estimated supply usage, I would guess. I suppose we could do a little bit better math if I go to supply. So this one itself needs 3,000, I suppose, but its subordinates need 10,000? Well, that's... Oh. Not good. We might be at the limit where we can't produce any more troops because we don't have the supply to produce them. we can't supply any other units that we produce. Okay, so let's probably sacrifice one other area. Don't think we need... We have 0 left over for machine guns and engineers, so let's sacrifice this. Cut this down and go 90 here, just to give us a little bit more supply. I'll keep up a small amount of machine gun production, because I think we're doing more than okay on engineers. I mean, this is a game I've been playing off camera, really. Actually, I would prefer engineers. Yeah, they only cost 1 supply, so I would prefer the engineers. I take that back. Supreme. Now it is 4 engineers instead of having 3 machine guns, but yeah, but that's still 4 supply versus 6 supply. And come on, if we're sweating 4 or 6 supply, that's a little petty. All right, we probably have to turn off our dive bomb maker factory. It's called an airplane factory, Tortuga, obviously. These guys cost a lot of supply, 30 per. So they're the most supply intensive unit we have. I do have some medium tanks which cost 24 supply per turn, but this is kind of the situation I prefer to avoid getting into. This situation where you're really saturated for supply. So let's go ahead to our airplane factory. I'm probably going to turn this off now. Which means I think we have all of our factories turned off. Because all the ones in the eastern... Okay, eastern is captured cities. Yeah, this guy is not even building anything, so we'll just put that token thing in there and set it to 0. Yeah, now at this point, once turning off the aircraft factory, we don't have any factories that we're using. Yeah, we probably should just be turning off even the machine gun production. Even if it means we have some weird amount of political points. Yeah, because we're really sitting pretty. I mean, if we look at the reserves, we're sitting very pretty in terms of number of machine gun units. 140 in reserve, that's quite a lot. And 210 Rangers. Really more machine guns than we could possibly ever need. Considering our units only have like 6 machine guns with them or so. So let's go ahead and find all the machine guns and just turn them off forever. Okay, this one, I'm just going to cancel machine gun production here indefinitely, so London never presumes to build machine guns again. This one I'm also going to do the same. So there's just, I don't know what I'll put here, but we should not be building machine guns. Okay, let's see. This one needs 3.2. So we'll get 10 more horses just for one more turn, just so we can eliminate this machine gun production as well. Since this is an even amount, I can actually just do this, close that, and put the infantry, the engineers here instead. Yeah. Okay, so... Yeah, that's good. Alright, so that's enough about production. So, what are we actually going to do this turn? What am I going to let you see in combat-wise? Well, not a whole lot is going on. I just upgraded it at the beginning of a turn, so we just lost the ability to do all of our infantry attacks. Which is unfortunate, except for this one, because he didn't get upgraded. And all of our artillery can still bombard. Yeah. So that's good news. In fact, these guys, can they move far enough to attack? No, because this is marsh. Well, what should we do here? I think we'll move one of our artillery back over here. So this is where I probably need to turn on grid rastering. I'll go here. Okay. Because if it's all gray, it's hard. It's, you know, where am I clicking? Am I clicking on this hex or this hex? I don't know exactly where the line is unless I right click like that. So anyway, let's do bombardment of this guy just to eliminate him. So really silly, I mean, this is really silly that I upgraded my units before moving, which is something I know not to do, but that's fine, we did it. It's not a huge disadvantage. A lot of my forces are remaining static for the time being anyway, so. Okay, we have some artillery here who can bombard this guy. Let's do that. These units are just so tank heavy though, it's like my artillery's barely doing anything. And we'll definitely attack that one with some of our airplanes. Maybe even send in a second wave of airplanes. That was very effective. So we got 8 rifles and 4 armored cars killed. I thought it was slightly more than that, but... Well, we can bring them back though, right? These guys, which ones were... Oh, 20? No, they're too far away. Okay, that's fine. We can get the 90s to go in, but although... is it better to use the 90s here? No. Yeah, this is the right place for them. That was very good. Okay, so it stops in round 6, which means that although we killed 6 armored cars, we can probably follow it up one more time, just with the same unit. Oh my gosh, actually he has 70 action points. I'm going to try to use this other dive bomber instead, just because 70 action points is enough to get that other guy wherever we want. So I'm trying to preserve that. That was not effective, but that's okay. And now this guy still has 80 action points, which is good. This is what I want. It'll give me a lot of bombardment against this guy, for example. And we can use artillery against him. Oh, wow, we have lots of artillery we can use against this guy. Well, let's think. Where do we want our artillery to be used? I really want to destroy this darn factory. So I might just do something like this. I just don't want another gun factory. It's annoying to see them all over the game. Okay, so unfortunately we're not doing enough damage to these. They're repairing too quickly because of that unfortunate trick that the AI's factories somehow repair faster. But let's try to get these involved. Maybe we can still destroy it. I'm using all 4 divisions of artillery just to destroy the location. There it is. Finally it destroyed. Good, nice, beautiful fields back. Okay, so that means we do want to bombard these guys with the remaining artillery. Not a good strategic choice, by the way. That's not the right strategic choice to destroy that factory because I'm going to conquer it. So technically I'm just removing a possible resource of my own, but I don't have any need for the extra factories and I find them ugly. They're a blight on the landscape, so that's my opinion on it. Great, so now that we've done that, we've actually eliminated the armored cars already just with the artillery. I think we'll still follow up with one more attack with our very experienced 190 combat valued 4th close air support. These guys are brutal. And they still have 30 action points, so I think we can return to these guys. Spread the love everywhere. Okay, that probably does it for them. Yeah, they're down to 0, but they actually were able to eliminate completely this Russian unit. And that's great. So this whole line should be pushed back. Okay, that means we'll probably use the remainder of our dive bombers here just to destroy the infantry guns and the artillery here. Yeah, I don't have any... I do even have some artillery I could move forward. Actually, I think what I'll do is... I'll move the 18th and the 19th just south one. The 12th and 13th I'll keep paired. 18th and 19th I'll leave like this. We'll do some infantry bombardment as well. I mean some artillery bombardment before we bring our tanks in. Our dive bombers. Okay, good. Alright, so I don't know if we want to attack this unit. I kind of want to leave the French forces as much as possible. The ones that won't engage me, like I don't think this guy is going to be attacking. I want to leave them as a defensive line that doesn't cost me anything against the Russians. So this is battle air stack of only 50. Let's do another attack on these guys, see if we can eliminate a few units there. We have the first close air support unit is very strong. Let's get them and see if they can... Okay, that's almost good enough. One more time. There, good. And that's all the action points. But that leaves this guy with 100 action points, and we've eliminated the Russians there. It's fantastic. Actually, it enabled us to conquer, it allowed us to actually conquer that hex, even though we didn't do anything. And it's in the zone of control of the French as well, but I guess my zone of control strength is much higher, much higher than the French. So yeah, so that we can't attack this unit, but it'll stay surrounded. It's not going to do anything. This will cost 30 for us to move here, but we could do that and then actually bombard this unit. We might as well just start eliminating some of the units. This is not going to really affect their readiness. I'm sure it'll renormalize back to 10 at the beginning of next turn. And I would like to use this dive bomber here, but he's so much more important to be using against the Russians. I'm going to attack this unit with my dive... No, wait. This unit, probably 7 versus 6 armored cars. Yeah. So let's get this one. I still do fear for a Russian offensive. I'm very leery of that. That's very effective, though. And this guy, he has no action points left, so we can't do anything here. But these guys won't be able to do anything on their turn because we've really just decimated them. They're not going to be in supply. They definitely can't across a stream. And I doubt that they'll want to attack a... I mean, these guys are now very strong because they're, 150 hit points instead of 125. So basically it made them 20% better at not getting killed. It's the way I would like to think about it. What we could do actually is... I think we can connect these two. Yeah, we can. Oh, there we go. Now these engineers, we put them a little bit far forward, but they're protected by a river, not a stream, but a river crossing here. Unfortunately, this unit is still pretty strong. But we have plenty of reserve engineers, so, we lose a few, it's fine. Okay, so these guys are not able to attack over there, but we could actually send one of my medium tanks just as a temporary stopgap measure, just to hold the line here. So the second medium armor has moved forward to hold the line against this ambitious Russian infantry. Great. Is there anything we want to do in the south? I think we've already done it, right? Just hold this crossing. Yeah, I probably should bombard this unit. A lot of this is just trying to prevent counteroffensive. Okay, so that's that. Actually, we can even take off hex coloring. Let's see how the game looks like that. Yeah, so this is obviously the most organic view of the map. The most environmentally friendly. Okay, so we're pushing to this. I think it's not necessary because it's pretty obvious where the different national borders are since there's units inside. I mean, it gets a little convoluted up north, maybe, but... Okay, so let's see. They're still holding the base of the mountain chain, the hills. I don't think we have any reason to push in there yet. We'll probably just do strong artillery bombardment and push in after that. I think we're holding the hexes we need to. With this artillery bombardment, they probably won't have the readiness to move across a stream into a swamp, and we don't care if they do anyway. Okay, so other than that, we want to keep getting these machine gun groups to the front, so let's keep pushing them. This first armor is likely going to move forward. In fact, we did an air assault there, but I probably should have done first. Whoops. Artillery bombardment. It's the typical way of doing it. Bombard them first to lower their entrenchment, and then let the dive bombers go to town. And we will similarly bombard these guys. Very good. So only thing left really is the armored cars, which unfortunately, maybe I can get a swipe off on them. No, they're just too far away. Okay, that's fine. Fair enough. Very fair. Let's see. We have one new... These guys have done anything? No. That's good, because I actually need to move one of these guys out. Because we have one new 5 dive bomber group. Perfect time to stop it, right on a full unit. It means that we don't have any dive bombers in reserve, but at the same time I don't think we need any. So maybe let's move the lowest combat unit, the greenest one, the 13th north. If I'm not mistaken, there's room in Orléans. Yeah, which they can just barely get to. So let's move them there. And probably switch them to the yellow. Okay, let's switch them to red. These guys both have hand cards. Charge versus... Now, Blitz is actually more important, I think, so let's move them over to red, yes. Okay. I don't use hand cards almost at all, but if I wanted to, I would prefer to use Blitz because it helps my armor. And most of my attacking units are going to be armor at this point. So now we have these two guys who no longer have this green -% penalty for overstacking at an airbase. They're probably right at the edge of their range here, but they're still in range. I think the range is 10 hexes. I think it's your action points divided by 10 is your range in hexes. So 10 hexes for now, and as you exert your action points, we can see that probably just if I just air recon. So this is 5 and this is 10, yeah. So it looks like I'm correct. So they have a max range all the way out here, which is good. They even have one more hex beyond the front line, so we can push even one more and still be in range of our air power. Okay, let's see what we get done. Good stuff. We killed most of the infantry guns, eliminated some of the infantry. That's sufficient for me. I don't care about that. Let's also get this guy then with the other dive bomber group, the 12th close air support. Because they have armored cars, and those worry me a little bit more. Not really getting much done there, huh? Probably lowered their readiness a little. So that is a very combat effective unit. High readiness and everything. We haven't seen one of those in a while. This is another, geez, 19 armor. So much armor. I'm glad I have these medium tanks coming in. It's going to be all about the armored cars now. Good. Well, I think I'll call this episode to a close here. I don't think there's anything else I want to do. Sure, we have plenty of artillery, which hasn't even bombarded yet. But I don't really have any purpose in killing these guys because basically they're just a buffer for me against the Russians. So thanks for watching this episode. What I'm going to do is continue to push maybe a couple more turns forward. I probably need to create a new headquarters here. The green headquarters, the blue-green headquarters, is really taking up too much of the front. It would be really nice if we were able to clearly divide it into yellow, red, something, and then blue down here, or whatever, blue here and something else here. So I'll think about that off camera, but thanks for watching this episode, and stay tuned also for the play-by-email multiplayer. It's going to be a lot of fun. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.